It was about 15 years ago when I worked as a credit card telemarketing consultant. My job was to promote new card applications. Typically, I'd have consultations with over 100 customers a day. Among them, there were some truly difficult customers, to the point where they could be nerve-wracking.
Sorry, not interested.
Hello, is this a real person? Otherwise, I'm not talking to no stupid machine.
Hello, I'm Gina. I contacted you before about our special offers.
Oh, I remember you, but I'm kind of busy right now. Can I call you back later?
I just need your mailing address. This particular customer had applied for a new credit card, but persistently delayed the final verification process for several days now. To exacerbate matters, he was making suggestive remarks, such as how beautiful my voice sounded, and inquiring about my age or address in exchange for his. Completing the card issuance was crucial for my performance metrics, and once a customer's application is in progress, I couldn't terminate the application process from my end unless the customer initiates it, due to company policy. Consequently, I had to make daily calls to this customer, suppressing my discomfort and greeting them as pleasantly as possible. As expected, my supervisor began complaining about my delays with this client, urging me to complete the application process by the end of the day. I took immediate action. I reached out to the challenging customer, emphasizing the urgency of finalizing the information by today. The customer, with an authoritative tone, asked me to call him back at 8 p.m. Determined to meet this deadline, I stayed behind after everyone else had left the bustling office. The office, bustling during the day, became an eerie space with only silent stillness. Unlike during the daytime, it felt like time had frozen. Finally, the clock hit 8 p.m., the exact time that my customer demanded to call back. Hello, this is Gina again.
Oh, Ms. Gina, I'm driving right now. Call me back in 30 minutes. My apologies.
If you could just provide the address, we'll assist with the final procedures for submission from our end. The client's agitation escalated into yelling. I promptly apologized and promised to call back in 30 minutes before hanging up. Yet, despite ending the call, I found myself angrily muttering, "Hey, how long are you going to drag this on for?" Suddenly, the sound of approaching high heels echoed in the corridor. I thought I saw a woman wearing our company uniform heading towards the restroom in the distance. Who is she? From another department? Perfect. I needed to use the restroom quickly. I was getting scared for no reason, and I couldn't even go to the restroom by myself alone. As expected, one of the stalls in the restroom was closed shut, but even as I headed out the door, there was no movement. A completely closed stall with no signs of anyone inside. In that instant, my boyfriend called to let me know he was almost at the lobby on the first floor. Feeling a sudden rush, I hurried back to my desk and promptly made the call again at exactly 8:30, the time the client had requested. Hello, this is Gina, again. You asked me to call back.
Hey, are you playing games with me right now? Why do you keep calling me and stop pacing around? Your shoes make noise and it's really annoying.
What shoes? I'm in my seat. Hello? Hello? Before he ended the call, he mentioned that he heard noises and footsteps, high heels clacking in the background. After the call ended, the office fell into an eerie silence, especially the sound of shoes mentioned by the client, which gave me the creeps. I hastily turned off the computer, grabbed my bag, and tried to leave the office. However, I noticed what appeared to be someone's head over the monitor. I got up to check, but there was no one. Instead, I found a computer still on at the workstation, where I thought I had seen someone. I hesitated but approached the station, concerned it might cause trouble for my colleague. Yet, as I approached the station, I heard someone's voice coming from the headset placed there. It sounded like our typical conversation between the clients and one of our colleagues. Quickly forcing the computer off, I hastened to leave the office, making my way towards the elevator and through the hallway. At that moment, the same sound, click-clack of high-heel shoes I'd heard before echoed once more. It felt like they were following me. Already filled with fear, I reached for the elevator and hastily pressed the lobby button without looking back. But the elevator doors refused to close. I silently pleaded for them to close quickly. Frantically pressing the close button, the high-heel sound was getting closer to the elevator, and finally, the doors barely managed to close. I couldn't shake off my tension, standing nervously in the corner of the elevator, anxiously awaiting to reach the first floor. 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th. Oh no, the first floor lobby. Why isn't the elevator stopping? What's going on? Why is this happening? The elevator kept descending without stopping, passing the first floor lobby. It felt like an eternity before it finally stopped. The elevator doors slowly opened, but everything was pitch black beyond the open door. The floor indicator panel right above the door displayed B3, the third floor basement, which was impossible to reach as it was inaccessible from that elevator, a part of its restricted access. Moreover, the B3 button was securely covered with a clear plastic to prevent anybody pressing the third basement button by mistake. How did it get here? It was both terrifying and bewildering. Despite my repeated attempts to alert security by pressing the emergency button, there was no response. I couldn't step out of the elevator, just trembling, frantically alternating between pressing the closed and emergency buttons. But the elevator remained motionless. At that moment, when I feared being trapped. Just in the nick of time, the first floor button mysteriously lit up on its own, as if someone had pressed it. The elevator, which had remained stationary, suddenly closed its doors and resumed operation, as if nothing had happened, ascending to the first floor lobby. As soon as the doors opened, I rushed out and ran to the security in the lobby. "Excuse me. Just a few minutes ago I pressed the emergency bell. But did you not hear it?" I was trapped in the elevator alone, and it was so terrifying. The security guard's response surprised me. In a nonchalant tone, he claimed he hadn't heard any emergency alarms. However, when I mentioned that it had stopped at the third floor basement, he suddenly seemed alarmed and asked how I ended up there. He explained that area had been closed off after a tragic accident. Though he didn't elaborate further, as if he were hiding something, I wasn't interested in hearing the details. My priority was getting out of the building quickly, so I contacted my boyfriend and headed straight home. The next day, as I was walking into the building, the security guard stopped me. Turns out he had reviewed the CCTV footage after I complained about what had happened and saw how frightened I was on previous day. I was certain I had been alone, working overtime and inside the elevator by myself alone. However, according to the CCTV footage, another woman appeared standing beside me, talking to me. The security assumed she was one of my colleagues, but me on the CCTV appeared oblivious to the whole situation, standing still motionless. Eventually, the woman pressed the button, and the CCTV captured me quickly getting off the elevator as soon as the door opened. Upon hearing it, it scared me so much that I didn't dare to check the CCTV footage myself. Looking back, I'm curious about the truth of that day. Was I really alone, or was I with someone else on the third floor basement who met a tragic end?